The most common question that I get from my clients on the regular basis is how much does it cost to set up and operate a Freezone company? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a detailed breakdown of the cost and the processes of getting your very own Freezone company. So stay tuned. Hello, my name is Shiraz Waheed. I'm the founder of Setup Hero, where we help entrepreneurs set up their companies in UK, US and UAE. You want to know how much is the cost of setting up a Freezone company? Well, let's just start with the basic now. What is a Freezone company exactly? Free zones are special economic zones that are set up by the UAE government. Any entity that is established inside the free zone is called a Freezone entity. These free zones are set up to provide special economic incentives and promote business within the UAE. The major difference between a free zone and a company that is established in the local jurisdiction, that is called an LLC, is that in a free zone you are 100% owner of your company, while in LLC most of the time you have to have a local person, a local Emirati citizen who is the co-owner of the LLC. Another major difference between free zone and local LLC is that the free zone company can deal only with businesses and people outside of the country and within other free zones. The free zone entity cannot deal with or do business within the LLC, within the local mainland Dubai or UAE. Moving to the document requirements. So fortunately the document requirements are very simple and they are very basic to comply with. For sure there is a background check, and then if something comes up on the background check and the banks or the free zones want further things, then that's something different. But as far as to set up your company with the free zones, the document required are your passport copy, your visa copy, either if you are already having a residence visa or your tourist visa, and if you don't have both of them, that's also fine. In addition to that, we need your passport size photographs and address details of the shareholders. So we need to know who are the shareholders, are they either their natural persons or companies, foreign companies. So in case of foreign companies, you would need some further attestations of their documents, but in case of natural person, you just need to know the name, the email address, the phone number and the actual address. So pretty much that's all that we need in terms of the documentation. Even though the basic documentation requirements are very simple, there can be, based on the industry that you're working with, there can be additional requirements for additional documents, and there would be approval from the relevant authority. So in terms of, let's say you're doing a food and beverages businesses, so there would be a food and drug authority that you need approval from. In case of real estate, that's the RERA or the Real Estate Regulatory Authority. Similarly, if you're in jewelry, then there's a Security Regulatory Authority, and in case of chemicals, there is a separate regulatory authority that deals with businesses and chemicals. So in case if your activity is relevant to those kinds of businesses, then you need to take this extra step and get to those authorities, get yourself approved, and then submit those approvals along with other documents to the free zone, and then hopefully you get your free zone entity set up. Moving forward to the actual cost of setting up a free zone. Now, I'm giving you this costing based on the estimation of generalized free zones, and I would classify, or what I can recommend you, the three of them in different emirates for comparison. In Dubai, you can go to IFSA or the World Trade Center. In Sharjah, you can go to the Shams. That's a very famous, that's a very strong free zone among the Northern Emirates. And then Rakesh is also a famous and a very strong brand when it comes to free zones. So I'll give you an average cost of setting up in these generalized free zones. For sure, specialized free zones and then LLCs will have a much higher cost. But what you need to understand is that the costs among these free zones are very similar, but depending on at what time you're applying, there would be different free zones will have different offers. So my team can guide you through what are the current offers and what is the actual cost breakdown of an exact free zone. But these costings are for guidelines, and more or less they are in a similar range, maybe 10 or 20% more or less based on the offers, based on the free zones, but this is the range that you're looking for. To start with, the first expense is your trade license cost. That's the license cost in those free zones is around 9 to 10,000, 11,000 dirhams. That also for one visa. There are cheaper ones that are for freelance visas, but the problem with them is you have very limited access in terms of your operations, in terms of your banking. So in case you want that, then in case that suits your need, then that's something different. But for the purpose of this video, I'm basing the costing on one visa, and then I'll let you know if you have further more visas, let's say you have 5 or 6 visas, then how to increase the cost and how to calculate the incremental increase in the cost. So coming back to the costing, license, it's 9,000 dirhams. The immigration card, it's again 1,500 dirhams, and the e-channel registration, that is 2,250 dirhams. Both of these documents are required for you to register with the Human Resource Authorities and the Ministry of Immigration, and that can help you with getting issuing the residence visas on your company. After that, there is a lease agreement. So either you rent an office, or you get a shared workspace, or you get a sustainability lease agreement to show the proof of address for the banking and for your incorporation. I would take it the smallest possible one, that's like 1,000 dirhams maybe you will be spending on a shared workspace that can give you a lease address. And then most of the free zones, they're also giving offers where they're giving these addresses for free. But as I say, depending on the time of when we are incorporating, what the current offer is, I'll take it as 1,000 dirhams that you would be spending on a lease agreement. For sure, if you want to get a bigger office, then or you want to get test spaces, then it gets increased. Apart from that, you as an investor would be spending 3,500 dirhams as an investor visa. This visa will be valid for 3 years, and the price that you are paying at the moment would also be for 3 years. There would be further costs for your investor visas, that is Emirates ID and medical exam that you would be giving, and that would come around 1,500 dirhams. There would be a status change if you're already in UAE in another visa and you want to change the visa status, then additional 1,000 dirhams would be for your status change. What happens is that all in all, this comes down to around 19,750, or you can say 20,000 dirhams, that requires for you to set up and start your Freezone company. Now, as I say, between the generalized shams, IFZA or Rakez, one would be 18,000, one can be 21,000, depending on when you are applying for the Freezone. But generally, is the cost 20,000 for a one visa Freezone company. Now, I can give you some rough guidelines on how to increase these costs and come to your own estimates. So let's say if you want 2 or 3 visa company, then you have to add 6,000 dirhams additional for each of the additional visas that you are getting. So let's say you want a 3 visa company, then 20,000 plus 6,000 and 6,000, so it would be 32,000. If you want, like, let's say a 5 visa company, so one visa is already coming with your investor visa package, that is 20,000. You need additional 4 visas, 6 into 4, 24, that's 44,000 that you will be spending on a company that has 5 visa quota and 5 residency visas that you can give out to. In addition to this, what I can give you are rough guidelines in terms of going into a mainland entity. As compared to this, you would be spending around 30 or 40% more what you are spending in the Freezone company to start a residence, to start an LLC company, and it's a base. So let's say you're paying 20,000 for your Freezone company, then at a minimum you'll be paying 30,000 or more or less. It also depends on the activities, but 25 to 30,000, that's your starting point for getting your LLC company. Similarly, specialized free zones such as DIFC and DMCC, you will be paying at least 100% or 200% more. So that starts with like 50,000, 60 or 70,000 dirhams that you would need to pay for DIMC, DIFC and DMCC. But for sure, those kinds of free zones are more popular among the clients who are trying to start a company in terms of getting the venture fundings and going global or going at least expanding in Middle East. Those kinds of companies, they prefer to stay in the ecosystem that these free zones provide. So yeah, it's beneficial for them. What you can always do is pay for 3 years or pay for 2 years and get 15 to 20% discount. So let's say even for your basic 1-year visa, you are paying 20,000 every year, like 20,000 for the first year, and then renewals are at 10,000 each. It's because the visa cost that you have to pay every 3 years, but the licensing renewal is every year. So what I would say is that for the first 3 years, if you are paying collectively, then there is additional, the free zones are giving additional 15 to 20% discounts like that. What I would further add is that if you are sponsoring your family, let's say your wives or your children's, then the costs are not that incremental. Then you have to pay, let's say, additional 2,000 for each child or 2,000 for the wife. So you can calculate like that. For sure, the daughters, you can sponsor for as long as you want, but if you have a son that you want to sponsor, then the legal age is up to 18 years. And if a son is more than 18 years old, then you need to get an independent or an employment visa for the son. But for the rest of the family, you can sponsor as much as you want. If you have any questions regards to the Freezone or LLC incorporation or UAE residency, you can drop a comment below and then I can answer you that. Also subscribe to my channel for more interesting videos on personal taxation and incorporation. Also, if you want my team to help you with your incorporation and UAE residency, then you can always book a call with us with the link in the description below, and we would be glad to help you in getting you started with your incorporation journey. See you in the next video.